Motherfucker.
All right. Hopefully we are live. I think we're live. It was telling me it wasn't available at first. Give everyone a couple minutes to get on here. Okay, if you guys are here and watching, go ahead. If you have pillows, grab pillows. I usually use one or two if you have pillows about this size. I'm also going to demonstrate a couple of things resting my pelvis on a ball. You can either use something like this if you have a little dodgeball. This works really well. You have like a togu ball. It's like a halfway inflated ball that you can support the pelvis with. And some bands. So if you have any TheraBands or little ones that are circular like this, you can use these guys and tie it together so that it makes a circle about the width of your thighs. Give everyone just a couple more minutes to get in here. Nice. I am live. Hi, Diane. Hope everybody's feeling well. Day whatever of quarantine, right? This is my 8th mat class. I'm excited for today. I got in a nice bike ride yesterday and I'm feeling energized still and ready to teach you. As always, these are donation-based classes. If you're able to donate, great. My Venmo is Vanessa-Ursini. I can put it in the comments later, and it's mentioned in the event page on Facebook. These videos will be saved on my YouTube channel from now on, so if you didn't have the time to do it live with us, no problem. Let's do it later. If you guys have any questions throughout, during, or afterwards, just let me know. I'm live on Facebook too. I got some feedback that the YouTube video was a little bit clearer, so whichever stream you want to watch, I'm cool with. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We are going to start with pelvic clock, where we're going to lay supine on our backs. I'm going to give you a quick little demonstration with the ring, just because I know I talk about this a lot, and I want to make sure you guys are getting it. Pelvic clock is a really nice movement to help warm up the pelvis. So imagine that my bottom was under here. These are the top of my hip bones here. When you're on your back, we start with the pelvic clock 12 and 6. So it's a little posterior tilt and anterior tilt. So it's just the pelvis that rolls back and forth like so. It's really subtle for the most part. There's not a lot of movement in your rib cage, and there's not a lot of tension anywhere. And then we'll move that from 3 to 9, so it'll look like this. So if you were looking dead on, it'd be here and here. One sit bone reaching down, opposite hip bone coming up. Okay, so I'll show that on a ball. If you need something under your head, grab a little pillow to help support your neck. And then if you have a ball, go ahead and place it underneath your sacrum. So that's the fused bone to the base of your spine, so it's not on your low back curve. Your feet are resting at about hip distance. Knees are going to stay mostly still throughout this, okay? If you move down and away to 6, it's like you're trying to reach towards your tail and stick out the tailbone just a little bit as you reach down. Obviously, when you're on the ball, you're going to have a little bit more range of motion. Sorry, just turning down the music motion. So if you're on the floor, it'll be a lot more subtle than this. Come back to center, let's go side to side. So this would be 3 and 9 on your clock now. This is where you're tipping like a seesaw would move. Knees are staying mostly still, and we're rolling like you were trying to get a marble to roll directly from one hip bone to the other. Awesome. Come back to center. Now we're going to draw a circle. So imagine your clock still on your pelvis. We were going to hit each number on the clock as you roll around. So let's start with 12 o'clock. Feel the pelvis roll backwards. Move clockwise. Reach down towards the tail, around, and back. Feel lots of length through the back of your neck. Little to no tension in the head, neck, or shoulders. Softness through the knees. Noticing if there's a quadrant that feels a little bit more challenging. Try to keep your pelvis heavy on the ball or the mat the whole time. And switch directions. Notice if one way feels a little bit easier for you. You can also place your hands on the rib cage to see if there's a lot of movement happening there. If there is, just see if you can take the range of your circle down a little bit. And then keep moving. Couple more times, all the way around. Just trying to take big deep breaths, really tuning into your body at least for the next hour or so. And back to center. So plant the feet, make sure they're firmly on the ground. We're going to move right into bridging, okay? If you're on a ball, no problem. Reach the arms along by your sides. You're going to roll back to that posterior tilt and lift the pelvis. Remove the ball. Just go ahead and set it to the side. Reach long, hold in your bridge for a minute. Reach the arms long, gentle press into the mat. And then slowly lower. Let your rib cage soften down. Through the middle ribs, lower back, and all the way to a neutral position. If you want to, sometimes it's nice to rock a little bit to that 6 o'clock position, the little arch in the low back, and then begin your bridge, rolling all the way through neutral to 12 o'clock, and then up, and roll back down. Check in with where your weight is moving as you come up. When you press into your feet, almost feel like you're trying to reach your knees forwards. Your upper body shouldn't feel like it's pressing backwards on the mat. And then lower down. I'm going to take my pillow away for bridging. Normally that's a good idea unless it feels really nice to have the pillow under there. On the next bridge, we're going to start to move into a little bit of that 3 and 9 o'clock position. So go ahead and bridge up and hold. Let your right hip bone gently tip down towards the floor, just like your pelvic clock. Now I want you to roll down that side of the spine. Okay, so you're coming down, it's just a little bit on a tilt. Come to center and neutral at the bottom. Roll back up through center. Let your pelvis tip to the left, so your right hip bone gently reaches up, and then massage down that side of the spine. Okay, so the weight and the center of your hips is still right throughout the center of the body. Come back up. Right side dips down, and then lower through that side. It's not that you're rolling so far that you're rolling on your side and your knees are having to sway. It's just that tilt in the pelvis, which is going to allow us to maybe loosen up some stuff on the sides of the spine and just getting a little bit in tune with the asymmetries in your body. Bridge up. We're going to do one more to each side. Keep your chin gently nodding down towards your chest so that the back of your neck stays really long. Last one, bridge up, tip to the left, and roll all the way down. Now come back to center, find center again. Arms are going to reach long. Let's bridge up and hold. Hover your arms so that they're off the mat. Now, as you start to soften down through your spine, you're going to start to reach the arms up and all the way back and behind you as the pelvis lowers. Try to keep the arms straight the whole time. And now as you start your bridge, you're going to roll back. The arms are going to peel up. And they're going to reach, really reach the arms nice and long here. Feel the shoulders open and then lower down again. Roll. Good. 2 more times. Arms start to float as the pelvis floats up. Trying to make your movements as fluid and as easy as you can. And roll. Last one. Let's come up. We're going to reach the arms down to the mat. Let's practice marching the legs. So now balance your marble right in the center of your pelvis. You don't want it to move. Take an inhale. Press into your right foot. Exhale your left leg up to tabletop. 90 degrees. Stabilize through your pelvis. So it should stay level the whole time. Press down. Make sure that when your feet are coming down, you're aiming towards that sit bone hip distance line. Let's go one more on each side. Keep the hips up so that there's little to no crease at the front of the hips here. Nice. Realign the hips and lower all the way down. Let your knees rock from side to side. I like to give myself a little assistive stretch here. And if you have a band, go ahead and grab it. If not, no problem. You can do this without a band. In a way, the band makes it easier. In a way, it makes it more challenging. Doing it without a band, same thing. I'll kind of explain that as it goes. So if you've got a band, go ahead and take it right above the knees. So it's resting on your thighs comfortably. Okay. Feet are going to go back to hip distance here. Arms just long by the sides. Find maybe. Okay. And then from here, you're going to let both knees start to open up towards the side. This is called bent knee opening. See how far you can open, pressing into the band, and then slowly let them come up. It should be kind of shaky if you have a band on there. Without a band, your range is going to be a little bit bigger, obviously. Press out, exhale as you push. Inhale to slowly control. So you've got a different kind of challenge in each direction. Pressing out, we're getting a little bit of the strength. And then on the way in, a little bit more control and balance. Check in with the hip position. Make sure that the pelvis hasn't really changed. And then check in with your feet. You want to keep most of the toes down. Like I can keep all 10 toes of mine down with my knees this wide. It's okay if the pressure rolls to the outside of the foot a little bit, but try to keep the feet mostly down. Okay, pressing out 3 more times. Feeling the outer hip, the outer leg start to wake up. Last one, press out. Coming up, take your time now. Ground your right foot, knee, and hip into place. Left leg is going to open as far as it can go without feeling your pelvis or your grounded leg change. Slowly let it come back up. Same side, right leg stays still, left leg is going to open. Check in with your head, neck, and shoulders. Make sure, maybe even put your hands on the pointy parts of your hip bones. Make sure that you don't feel any movement in either hip bone. Okay, same side. Keeping the pelvis as still as you can. And imagine I put a really fragile little teacup right on the top of your right knee. You didn't want that teacup to fall and break, or you'll have to clean it up. 2 more. Nice. Move with your breath. Inhales to lift. Switching sides, put that teacup on your left side, open your right knee, flesh it, flesh it. Come back in, and lift. Notice which side you can open a little bit farther on, which side feels a little bit more restricted. Make sure that there's not a whole lot of rocking in your pelvis, creating stability through your pelvis, mobility through your hip joints, super important. Good, 2 more. Exhale as you press. Keep that left leg really still. It'll have a tendency, if you have a band on, to reach out towards the side to help stabilize you. Good. Now let them come all the way back in. If you have the band on there, go ahead and take it off. From here, if you need support under your head again, you can go ahead and put it there. We're going to practice a little side to side. So we are going to keep the knees all the way together for this one, feet touching, still keeping, you're going to let the pelvis rotate a little bit here. Arms are going to come out a little bit wider so they're off the mat in a little upside down V. And then you're going to let the knees and the pelvis rock from side to side. See if you can keep your knees mirroring one another. So as you let them draw to one side, the opposite sit bone has to lift up off the floor. You're getting a little bit of rotation in the pelvis and the rib cage here. But the shoulders, the back of the shoulders, are staying heavy on the mat, okay? Your head is resting either on the mat or a pillow. Knees are together, feet are together. And as they tip from one side to the other, they stay in line with one another. Take your time. Almost feel like that outside leg lifts up and then the knees tip. Good. Now, bring your hands behind your head. So now we're taking away a little bit of the stability that we had with our hands. Still keeping the shoulders heavy. Same thing, okay? Rotate the pelvis. Keep the shoulder blade down and peel back. Feeling the ribs and spine rotate, the pelvis rotate. Just getting the body nice and warmed up before we do a really fun ab series. Now we're trying to warm up those obliques a little bit. And hold whichever side you're on. If you want an extra challenge, you're gonna extend the top leg straight. You're gonna keep it straight to bring the knees back to your starting position. Bend that knee, rotate to the opposite side, reach the top leg long, and come up. And here. Keeping no tension in the head, neck, or shoulders. And back up. One more time to the other side, and then we're gonna make it even a little bit harder. Rotate. That's why we build on this stuff, right? So if you guys feel like one set was challenging enough, you're gonna stay there, okay? Keeping hands behind the head. Legs are gonna come up to 90 degrees now, okay? Same movement. You're gonna tip the knees, but we're not gonna go all the way down to the mat. Obviously the feet aren't grounded now. Rotate. And big exhale, bring them back up. So your shoulders shouldn't be lifting. If you want to bring the hands back down to that upside down V, to try it with the legs lifted, you can. And back, and up and over. Keep the knees mirrored, keep the shins together. If you want it to be even harder, you're gonna pause in your rotation. Uh-oh. Top leg reaches. Exhale, bring it back up. Rotate. Top leg extends. Exhale to center. Let's go one more to each side. Think about opposite sit bone lifting. Reach. Exhale. Good. Last one. Lift up and over. Best one yet. Shoulder blades heavy. Top leg extends. Big exhale. Come back to center. Rest the knees. Rest the legs. You can give a little rock from side to side again. Now the next series we're going to do has a lot of thoracic flexion, chest lifting in it. So if you have tension or an injury in your neck and you want to keep your head down for the next series, that's okay too. In a sense, it'll almost make it a little bit easier if you stay curled up in the lower abs, but we'll see, do what feels right for you, okay? Interlace your hands behind your head so they're the base of your skull, okay? Elbows in your peripherals. You're gonna bring your legs into tabletop, 90 degrees. Now here's your chest lift. Curl up, head, neck, and shoulders. Look down through your inner thighs. From here, keeping a little bit of a neutral spine, maybe a little bit of pressure into your low back if you need to. We're gonna let both legs reach down towards the mat. If you can get all the way there, awesome. Exhale, bring them back up. If you get to a certain point and you see this happen or your lower back arch, pause, go a little bit sooner than that. If you have your head down, your range will not be quite as big. And up. So it's just like a little toe dip down. See if you can come up a little bit higher if your chest is lifted. We've got 4 more. Try and inhale down. And then exhale up. Two. Last one. And rest the head, neck, and shoulders. Hug the knees in towards the chest. For the next one, we're gonna practice a crisscross series. I'm gonna show it with the head down, and then you can practice with the head up. So one leg dips down like that little pond. The hands are gonna reach to the back of the thigh, and then the thigh presses away from you. And then you switch, opposite knee or opposite toe comes down, hands come behind the opposite thigh. Press your thigh into your hands and switch. So now, curling up, you've got a hand onto the back of the thigh. Watch what happens when I push my thigh into my hand. It helps me lift a little bit, right? Then switch, same idea. If you prefer your hands behind your head, that's fine. If you prefer to keep them down, that's also fine. Just something new. Try to keep your shoulder blades floating off the mat the whole time. And if you need help with that, remember, just push the thigh in a little bit. Rotate. Exhale as you twist. Inhale. Exhale. Rotate. 2, 2, 1. Come all the way down. Stretch out nice and long, little rest. Okay, from here, we're gonna come back up. We've got a little series that we're gonna do now. So it's a little coordination challenge. Hands back behind the head, curl up, head, neck, and shoulders. Bring the legs into tabletop. Okay, from here, just a couple of chest lifts. Lower, head down. And exhale, curl up. And down. Trying to keep tension out of the front of the thighs. It's okay if they're working, but not gripping or grabbing. Next one, we hold. Curl up, exhale. Let the toes dip down, both legs if you can, as far as you can. Lift the knees back up. Now bend your knees. Little reverse curl, pelvis lifts up. Bring it down. And rest, head, neck, and shoulders. Let the legs come back to tabletop. Curl up. Exhale here. Dip the toes down as far as you can go. If you can make it to the mat, awesome. If not, who cares? Bring the knees in. Reverse curl up. Rest everything down. We're going to do 3 more of those, okay? If you want to keep the head down, you can. It'll just be here. You'll go down as far as you can with the toes. You'll lift up. And it'll be a little reverse curl. In your reverse curl, see if you can lift more up than rolling back. Does that make sense? We're gonna curl up, head, neck, shoulders. Exhale. Head, legs come up. Dip the toes down. Exhale, bring them up. Knees bend in. Lift up, reverse curl. Keep the heels close to the sit bones the whole time. Curl up, legs dip down, keep your knees bent at 90 degrees. Now hug it in, heels close. One more set. Rest the head, neck, shoulders. Big inhale. Exhale, curl up. Lift the legs. Dip the toes down. Bring it back up. And reverse curl. Rest, stretch everything out. Nice work. Those are tough. From here, we are coming into some roll-ups, okay? Arms are gonna reach up towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, nod the chin. Do your best to curl all the way up to seated and stretch forwards. If you need to bend your knees here, no problem. Okay. From here, we're gonna stay at the top. We're gonna bend the knees. Okay. We're gonna practice just a little bit of movement through the spine. Let the abs rest for a second. Mine are on fire. Holding the back of the thighs. Roll through the spine. And then lift up. And hang on to the back of the thighs. Come up and extend. Start by nodding the chin. Roll back. Feet stay heavy. We're not rolling all the way down. Roll it up. Lift from the sternum bone. Open. Curl. Reach. Up. bend here. Now we're gonna take the hands away. We're gonna reach forwards. We're gonna roll down about halfway. From here, arms come up, circle out. Exhale, pull your body forward. So it's just a little arm circle there. Keep your feet down. As soon as you start to roll backwards and lose your feet, you've just lost this beautiful connection that you've made here, okay? So just watch your range of motion. Rolling back. Arms up. Out and around. Open. And lift up. Stretch forward. Keep the feet heavy. Arms out, around, and stretch forwards. Let the legs reach forwards here as well. I'm gonna grab some blocks so that we have something to sit on. If you can't sit comfortably with your legs straight in front of you, sit on top of something here. If you just have tight hamstrings for the day, tight hips, whatever, it'll make it a little bit easier, okay? Hands behind the head if you can manage. If not, hands in front is totally fine. Let your feet come a little bit wider than your hips. We're gonna rotate the spine. Sit up tall, lift from the back. Exhale, twist the upper body towards me. And come back to center. Realign, sit tall, bend your knees still even if you need to help you sit up taller. Keep your gaze up and your head pressing into your hands so that you don't start to round forwards. Yeah. And exhale, twist. Think about getting taller as you twist. Nice. Move with your breath. Inhale. Exhale to twist like you're wringing out a wet towel that is your spine. Bend your knees so you can sit up taller. And back to center. Good. Now relax the hands. Reach the legs just straight out in front of you for this next one. A little spine stretch here. So instead of rotating, we're gonna go forwards now. I'm gonna reach the arms forwards and you're gonna start to curl, okay? Same thing, if you need a little bend in your knees, that's okay. We're gonna curl the upper body. So you're gonna start to nod the chin, you're gonna round down. You're gonna reach out for your feet, feel your spine extend, and then come back up into seated, okay? So again, to challenge the extensors to come back up, okay? Straight legs is here. Roll forwards. Reach. Gazes forwards, up and around. Two more. Inhale to prepare. Exhale to round. Reach. And lift, okay? Round. Gaze comes down. Reach. Gaze is just forwards. Up and around. Go ahead and rest off of your block if you're on one or anything to help prop you up. Now from here, we're gonna lay down onto your side. If you need padding under your hip bones, go ahead and grab something that you can roll up or a small pillow. If you wanna lay on a pillow here on your side, you can. I'm gonna lay it just on my arm. Okay, let's lay on our right sides first. If you want to face the camera, awesome. If not, that's okay. You're going to come all the way down, either supporting head on upper arm or on a pillow. Trying to make a really straight line in your body, okay? So your whole body should be in line with the center of your mat. Top hand rests into the mat. Head is heavy on the mat the whole time, okay? From here, reach that top leg long so it's almost in line with the bottom leg. And then we're going to lift the legs up. You're gonna float off the floor and then you're gonna come back down. Using the top hand to help stabilize you a little bit. Head stays resting, okay? Lift and lower. Just try to do that with lots of control. Try not to just let the legs plop onto the ground. Lift up and down. When you lift, notice if you're shifting the weight in your hips forwards or backwards and see how steady and centered you can make it instead. Let's do 4 more. Up. And 3. Feeling this nice little side bend happen as you lift the legs. Maybe a little bit of fire into your obliques. Up. Down. Last one we're going to hold. Exhale up. Lift the top arm up. If you can, balance. And down. Nice job. Go ahead and rotate onto your stomach. We're going to do tummy, little swimming before we move on to the other side of that side lifting, okay? Laying on your bellies, you're going to reach your arms out so they're about the width of the mat, and then your legs, also the same thing, about the width out of the mat. You're going to keep your nose pretty close to the mat. Think about reaching the crown of your head forwards. We're going to practice with just the arms first. You're going to let your right leg float off of the mat. The height is up to you, okay? It should feel challenging, but not pinching or painful. It shouldn't be the hardest thing that you've done today for sure. And then let them come down. We're going to march the arms, so just one up and forwards, and down. Opposite up and forwards. Notice if anything else is taking place in your body, and see if you can soften and keep the weight just centered. The chin is nodding gently down and up. Good job. Now rest your arms. We're going to practice the same thing with the legs. Keeping the head hovering if you can. Lift your right leg, float it off the mat, and rest it down. Trying to keep the legs super straight. Lift, hover. Same thing. Your height will be up to your body. Okay? When you do the legs, I want you to think almost about when you lift, seeing if you can reach it a little bit longer so it sets down in a slightly different length than it did before. Even if it's like microscopic, do your best to imagine that. So one more time on each side. Keeping the front of the thigh bone pushing down. X position. You're going to hover your right arm, hover your left leg. Bring them all the way down. Switch sides. Left leg comes up, right leg up. Good. Not super worried about the height. Focus on the length and the stillness in your pelvis and the rest of the body. Now, if you want a little bit more challenge, we're going to come up, hold whichever side you're on, hover the other side as well. So all four limbs are off the ground. Now we're going to swim. Okay? Here we're challenging stability throughout your torso and your trunk. Getting the limbs to move. Challenging the extensors in the spine. Keep swimming. We've got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and rest. If the other variation was working for you, try to just continue there. And if you want to come into that again, and you know you have a decent amount of spine extension, so it looks a little bit more like the swan or the cobra. Swim like you're swimming away from jaws, but with straight limbs. See if you can lift another inch. You've got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and a rest. If you want to do the other leg lift side by just rolling over and facing away from me, that's fine. For the voice aspect of this, so you guys can hear me, I'll come back here. All right. So all the way down onto your upper arm, head is resting. Try not to let the hips be too far in front or behind, or the legs too far in front or behind the hips. Okay. And then hand presses into the mat, so you're stabilizing. Hips are stacked. Both legs are reaching super long, okay? From here, lift, float the legs. And let them come back down. See if you can remember. And lower. Up. You're having to draw from both sides of the obliques to help you lift the legs. And then make sure you're controlling the legs on the way down. Up. 4 more. Try not to stress. Don't force your range if it's not there, okay? Remember what it was and try to get a little deeper next time. Hold, lift the legs up if you can. Top arm up, make sure your head stays resting. It's okay if it's wobbly. Float, stabilize best you can, and rest. Woo, that's fun. Go ahead and roll onto your stomachs again, and let's push up to quadruped. Okay, so now we're in our 4-point kneeling. So we've got shoulders on top of wrists, hips on top of knees, Now, remember when we did pelvic clock in the beginning? Try just a little pelvic clock around through the pelvis and then extend through the lower back of the pelvis. So it shouldn't feel like there's a whole lot of anything happening in your upper body, just the pelvis, like you're trying to stick your booty out and then you're trying to hide it. Good. Come back to center. Now we're going to go into those 8 movements that we practiced before. For those of you who haven't seen them, it is all movements of the spine in this 4-point kneeling position. We're going to round, flex the spine, gaze is backwards, tailbone reaches down, and then extend, tailbone reaches out, belly comes down, and gaze comes forward. Make sure that when you're extended here, you're still pressing into your hands. They're straight and strong, and then come back to neutral. A side bend is next. We're going to look back towards the feet, side bend in the ribs and the spine. Come back across to the other side. Come back to center. Now lift one arm up, rotate the spine up and open here. Then we're going to thread the needle, feed it through and under. Come back up, switch sides, face away from the camera, twist up and down, thread the needle through. Back to center. Then we just reset. We start over, okay? Around the spine, gaze is down, flex, look back. Start to let the tail reach out just like that pelvic clock. Reach the belly down, gaze is forwards. Come back to neutral. We're going to go side bend. Side bend. Twist up, open, top arm reaches up, and then feed it through. Come back up into center, opposite side lifts up, and thread through. I'm gonna do 3 more times at your own pace. I'll still talk you through it. Go as quickly or as slowly as feels good to your body. Make sure that when you get to this position here, that you're not just looking up and forwards. It shouldn't feel like it's hard to talk or breathe. Come to your side bend. Maybe start with the opposite side bend each time. Challenge your brain a little bit. Back to center. Open. Twist through. Back up. Open. And twist through. Okay, 2 more times. Flex. Make sure you're breathing. Extend. Back to center. Side bend the opposite way. Side bend. Center. Up. And through. Next side. Up. And through. 1 more set. If this gets to be too much, sit into a child's pose. That's where we're going to go next. Back to center. Side bend. The opposite. Twist the opposite if you can remember. If not, who cares? Under. Last one. Up. Thread the needle. Come back up. Sit into a child's pose. If you need something under your pelvis to support, you can. Under your head. Hands into the head is fine. Just relax and let the weight almost spill forwards. Make sure your head is fully resting. Awesome. We're going to come into a kneeling position. I'll face you guys. You guys can face wherever. Let me adjust the camera just slightly. Okay, so in your kneeling position, we're going to practice just a little kneeling side bend, like a little kneeling mermaid. So hands can just rest down by your sides. If you need pads under your knees, grab a pillow, grab something you can roll up with a towel. You're going to let one arm, so let's go right arm, reach down the thigh and then come back up to the top. Now come to the opposite side, reach down, let the opposite shoulder just hang out and back up. Head is tilting along and the weight is staying super even throughout your knees. This time, as the arm reaches down, let the opposite arm come up and stretch. Bring it back through and switch sides. Opposite arm down. Drape the other arm up and across. Watch that the body isn't necessarily rotating forwards here and that we're not letting the hips send from one side to the other. Come back up and to center. Let's do 1 more time to each side. Nice big stretch. feeling this expansion in the rib cage. Up. Last one, up and over. I'm gonna come forwards. Okay, I'm gonna face the side for this one so you guys can see what's happening in my spine. Okay, right knee is right on top here. You can have the toes curled under, knee down, whatever you need. I'm gonna have my knee for this one. Okay, now from here, we're just gonna try to get a nice little hip flexor stretch in the knee that's down on the mat, okay? What I want you to do is that same type of pelvic position. You're gonna try to round just a little bit backwards, keeping the chest lifted, okay? Then side bend away from that leg, okay? So my left knee is down, my left arm is gonna go up and over, and I'm side bending away from it. If you're not feeling a lot of stretch in your hip flexor, come back up to the top, find this position again, and then make sure it's just a side bend, and reach. Come back up to the top. We're gonna do 2 more like that, okay? Find that position again. Maybe lean forwards just ever so slightly, and then side bend. Lift the chest, come back up to the top. Got 1 more there. Up and over. It's a little bit of work through the obliques. Mostly just stretching. Up and switch legs. So now you've got your right knee down. Your left leg is gonna come forward. So this leg is vertical. You find that position in the pelvis where it's almost like you're gonna take one hand on your back, you're gonna pull that down gently on your tailbone and gently lift up on the front of the pelvis, okay? Now let the left hand just rest on the thigh, right arm comes up, side bend, over. Inhale back up and whoop to the top, and same thing. Find that position again if you've lost it. Come up and over. Good, back up. If you need to, a little reach forwards is fine. What I don't want to see is this happening, okay? So you've got the legs still pretty vertical, little lean forwards with the pelvic tilt combined with the Little Mermaid side bend is usually a really awesome hip flexor stretch. Nice, come back up and to the top. And from here, we're gonna take a little lay down onto the back. So again, find something underneath your head to help support you. We're gonna take just a couple of deep breaths and relax for a few minutes. Arms are gonna reach along by your sides. You're gonna notice how your legs just splay outwards kind of naturally, letting the knees relax, the thighs relax. Taking maybe a couple of little wiggles in the pelvis, or maybe a couple of pats in the legs. And let them come to stillness. Take your hands to your rib cage. We're gonna find that lateral breathing again. So as you inhale, feeling the ribs expand. Inhale, open. And exhale. Now bring your hands to your chest and to your stomach. And then from here, feel that breath exhale. Let it all go. Inhale in. Exhale. Now let your hands relax by your sides again. And let's see if you can let that breath happen again, left and right and up and down. So both combined. Big inhale. And exhale, let it flow all the way out. Inhale in. And exhale. Now maybe let your shoulders lift up gently away from the mat, and then feel them get heavy and relax down. Lift up, the shoulder blades gently come up, and then relax. One more time, up and down. And then let the shoulders glide up towards the ears, and then let them relax down. Not forceful, just like you're taking a big stretch. And relax. Let your head rock from side to side. And maybe nod, yes, and no. Find center, and just let everything come to a full relaxation state. Letting your breath come more naturally and just breathing within yourself for a few breaths. And then when you're ready, go ahead and roll to one side or the other, using either the pillow or your hand to support your head. Take a little inventory, see how you feel. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. You can push yourself up to a seat, and if you have any questions about anything, awesome. If not, I hope you join me again soon. That was super fun.